events of the day caused many of the drivers, including Jim Clark, to develop a strong dislike of the track, as they had to repeatedly swerve to avoid Bristow's body for the rest of the race. Despite the obvious dangers and the campaigning from the drivers, safety rails were only installed 3 years later in 1963. But this did little to stop tragedy from happening. 8 other drivers would die driving around Spa in the 1960s alone, and one of them was nearly Sir Jackie Stewart. He crashed his BRM at the Master Corner travelling at over 140 miles an hour, and he found himself upside down in a farmhouse next to the track, with broken ribs and fuel pouring from the car that he was trapped in. Luckily, he was helped from the car without further damage, but Stu wouldn't take any more chances and always carried a spanner in his car from then on. This crash would prove to be the beginning of the end for the old Spa layout, as Jackie Stewart led the Grand Prix Drivers Association and demanded changes were made to drastically improve safety. After Stewart visited the track on behalf of the GDPA in 1969, he was so upset by the lack of safety improvements that it was decided the drivers and teams would boycott the race that year. While F1 did return to Spa in 1970, the track was no longer up to F1's safety standards, and they wouldn't return there for another 13 years. When F1 did return to Spa in 1983, they came back to a very different circuit. Gone was the long 15-kilometre layout, and in its place was a new semi-permanent 7-kilometre track that we know today. Cars now turned off the original route before Lacombe and headed down the valley through the trees until it met up with the old course at Blanchemont.